Good afternoon and welcome to Sunshine Reports. My name is Remy Allen. Representatives of the federal government and the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) will today resume talks on petrol subsidy removal palliatives. Following the removal of the fuel subsidy on May 29, the NLC had threatened to shut down the country's economy by embarking on industrial action. The NLC and the Trade Union Congress (TUC), however, made some demands which would cushion the effect of the hike in fuel price. It is expected that both parties would harmonize some of the demands in the meeting scheduled for 4 p.m. today. According to the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, Kashalom Daju, the parties will reconvene at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The contribution and impact of fathers and father figures on the lives of their children has come into focus as the world commemorated Father's Day. The day celebrates fatherhood and male parenting. In this report, Joy Pius examines the roles of fathers in ensuring an egalitarian society.
Happy Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day.
Although it is celebrated on a variety of dates worldwide, many countries observe Father's Day on the third Sunday in June. The day is aimed at acknowledging a father's love and his sacrifice, which allegedly is often overlooked. Beyond the euphoria of the day, Osrc seeks to unearth the impact of fathers in a country where male prejudice thrives. Regardless of various legislative interventions locally and internationally, patriarchy persists in Nigeria. Men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. There is also the supremacy over the female gender, social, cultural, and political sphere, among others. The traditional setting of families in Nigeria deepens men's dominance, a phenomenon which is believed to be causing grave imbalance and affecting social, political, and economic growth.
This domineering effect is biblical, community-based, and people have been adhering to it. And it has started long time, for a long time on this app. And I can say it's supported by God himself.
If you're a father, you are a leader in the house, you are going to be asked about your wife, your children. Then if you're a wife, you also have a responsibility you have to going to do in the house in terms of taking care of your husband, property, your children, and the like. So Islam has, given us everything. That the roles, as a woman, what's your own role? As a man, what's your own role?
We know that gender inequality is happening in the community, in the society, but it's not supposed to be because we are one. Some people do say that what a man can do, a woman can do better. It is true. The fact that God has made fathers the head of the family does not mean that the women should be treated as servants. But God has made them the assistants, the helpmate for men.
Osrc crew spoke to some citizens of Ondo State on how fathers can help in cleansing the society of the effects of male chauvinism.
We must be a role model to our children, be it a male, be it a female. And there should be no discrimination. We must not build any dichotomy whatsoever in between our children, irrespective of their gender. That should be equality.
There are some times that when they get to a place or at a crossroad where they need what a lady can do, and because they are male, they cannot do it. It will create problem. So it will bring them up as a male and as female, and we teach them equally. It will not create problem for them in future.
Historically, mothers have received more attention, and mothers have more often been characterized as children's primary caregivers, whereas fathers have been characterized as playmates. However, in many countries, gender roles have become more equitable over time, and research now suggests that fathers play more important roles in child development. As the importance of fathers being pillars of the home gains traction globally, the emphasis is that deliberate efforts must be placed on the home front by fathers to foster parity amongst the male and female children for healthier society. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
The chief imam of Ushu community in our local government area of Ondo State, Alhaji Ibrahim Onyilade, who was abducted along the Owakure Expressway on Saturday, has regained his freedom. Reports say the cleric was released by his abductors on Sunday evening. The cleric was said to be working on his farm when the hoodlums invaded the premises and whisked him away. Family sources say though the abductors subsequently demanded 10 million naira ransom to release the cleric, he was set free on Sunday evening. It was, however, not known if the ransom was paid before the cleric was released. The National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, says preliminary investigations on the Kwara boat tragedy revealed that the vessel was very heavily overloaded, carrying over 250 persons, including luggage, and the people were not wearing life jackets as they traveled in the dead of the night. A total of 107 deaths were recorded in the boat accident in the Patagi local government area of Kwara State last Monday, while 146 escaped death. Speaking after leading a delegation to make on-the-spot assessment of the situation in Patigi communities, the NIWA Managing Director, Dr. George Mugalu, said preliminary investigation reviewed causes of the incident, vowing that all indicted persons would be punished. The NIWA Managing Director, who said the organization was determined to enforce standard operating procedure with a set of operational guidelines, added that it would use local enforcement agents made up of youths to enforce the guidelines set for security purposes at all times. Following the deregulation of the downstream petroleum industry, the federal government has begun the process of closing down the Petroleum Equalization Fund. The move, it was gathered, was in line with the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021. A meeting held in Abuja between officials of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and oil marketers deliberated on the closure of the fund. The National Controller of Operations, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mike Osrc, said the fund currently holds its members about 80 billion naira, noting that the role played by the fund has ended upon the full deregulation of the downstream sector as stated in the Petroleum Industry Act. PEF was set up by Decree 9 of 1975 as amended by Decree number 32 of 1989, now Chapter 352 of the laws of the Federation, and its main function was to ensure price uniformity of petroleum products via the reimbursement of marketers for losses they incurred in tracking products from depots to their filling stations anywhere in Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria has lifted the limits placed on domiciliary accounts. In a statement by the Apex Bank, the new regulation allowed account holders to deposit freely, have unrestricted access to funds in accounts, and make up to $10,000 withdrawal dailies, say deposit money banks. DMBS shall provide returns to the CBN, including the purpose for such transactions. The Central Bank of Nigeria added that cash deposits into domiciliary accounts will not be restricted, subject to DMBS conducting proper Know Your Customer, due diligence, and adhering to the spirit of letter of extant AML and CFT laws and all the relevant rules and regulations. The Sultan of Sokoto and President of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, NSCIA, Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III has declared Wednesday, June 28 as a day to mark Eid al-Adha. The NCCIA president, in a statement by the National Moon Sighting Committee, also declared today, Monday, June 19, as the first day of Dhul Hijjah 1444 AH. The Sultan said during the 10 days leading up to the celebration, Muslims are urged to increase their acts of worship and ask Allah for all their heart's desires. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET has predicted cloudiness and thunderstorms from today to Wednesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook predicted a cloudy atmosphere on Monday with patches of clouds over the northern region, with prospects of morning thunderstorms over some parts of the country. According to NIMET, for areas where thunderstorms are expected, strong winds are likely to precede the rains, and as such, trees, electric poles, unsecured objects, and weak buildings may be felled. It advised the public to be cautious, stay indoors, especially during heavy rainfall, to avoid being struck by lightning. And finally, on sports, Super Eagles coach Jose Santos Pizarro says the team deserved to defeat Sierra Leone in their 2023 African Cup of Nations qualifier played on Sunday. The three-time African champions departed Monrovia, Liberia, with 3-2 win over Sierra Leone. Speaking after the match, Pizarro said it was a very hard match, but the players never gave up and fought till the final whistle. The Super Eagles booked their spot in the 2023 African Cup of Nations after a dramatic 3-2 win over Sierra Leone in their Group A clash at the Samuel Keyondo Sports Complex, Monrovia, Liberia. Rampaging Napoli striker Victor Osimhen scored a first-half brace, but Mustafa Bundu and Augustine Cargo equalized for the hosts to send the tie into a frenetic finish. But Kelechi Iheanacho's stoppage-time winner earned the Eagles all 3 points and qualification for the Continental Showpiece with a game to spare. Nigeria thus moved to the top of Group A with 12 points from 5 matches, ahead of Guinea-Bissau, who were top of the log with 10 points after their 1-0 win over Group's whipping boys Sao Tome and Principe before Sunday's clash in Monrovia. Meanwhile, at least 14 countries have qualified for the 2023 African Cup of Nations. This follows the completion of Match Day 5 qualifying fixtures. Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau have booked their spots from Group A. The Cape Verde Islands are through from Group B, and Mali from Group G. They join hosts Ivory Coast, holders Senegal, Algeria, Burkina Faso, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, Morocco, South Africa, Tunisia, and Zambia in the finals that kicks off January 2024. There are 3 more fixtures to complete the 5th rounds of qualifiers, and they will be played tomorrow, Tuesday, 20th June. And that concludes Sunshine Reports. Many thanks for watching. Good afternoon.